Welcome to Lead Your Life, the podcast for people who are seeking harmony in business and in life. My name is Debbie Heiser, and I'm an inner mastery and business mindset coach and the chief igniter here at the Lit Up Life. I feel an urgency to help people let go of past messaging so that they can make a lot of money doing what they love without sacrificing what they value most. Welcome. We're glad you're here.
Straight from the corners of my mind is where I find my sanity. It's a place, another land,
Hello. Debbie Heiser here with Lead Your Life with Debbie Heiser. I am thrilled to be with you today and so grateful for all of my listeners and for the people that reach out to me too and say how much they enjoy the podcast. I appreciate you. So thank you. Doing this work, we keep ourselves motivated, and the breakthroughs I have with clients help keep me motivated to do the work that I do. But it's really nice to hear, because sometimes even those of us in the coaching industry, we need to hear the impact that we're making to people. So thank you for that. I wanted to come on today and we're going to talk about money. And part of this with money is, what is it, right? And so money, depending on where you're at, certain countries, it's all digital now. Some of us use Apple Pay, that is more digital, but it is an exchange. And I like to think of it too as an energy exchange. And when it comes to money, whether it's paper money, coins, digital money, there is an exchange that happens for something that someone is valuing. And understanding that sales is a piece of this, we're going to talk about that the next time. But all of these things, when it comes to money and it comes to being a business owner or anyone really, it's about receiving money, and it's about understanding how the flow of energy occurs with money. So one of the things that I want to talk about today is these money stories that we have heard in our lives. And some of you have been listening to me for a while now, and this is a little bit of a repeat from one earlier this year, but it's so relevant all the time, right? Like, I just recently went through something a few months ago where I was looking at wanting to create this business that I would sell eventually, and realizing that it was a slippery slope because I got out of corporate for a reason, but yet here I was trying to create a corporation. And partially because that was familiar to me was how I went down that road. But I currently shifted because I realized I could make the same amount of money that I wanted to sell a business for by focusing and refocusing on what I love to do. And part of what was happening is I was getting so wound up in creating this huge vision that I had, and it was out of alignment with who I was, that it had nothing to do with imposter syndrome. I just wasn't even doing what I was coaching other people to do. And so therefore my energy level went into a spiral, a downward spiral, and that constricts us, right? So anytime our energy level, and you can look this up online, there's like this, for the lack of a better word, it's like a three-dimensional spiral. And for those people that are connected to Gonzaga and servant leadership, that's a big metaphor that we use in servant leadership. But the same holds true in energy. And as our energy rises, then we're in abundance. And when we're in abundance, we're open, right? And not just open to what we see in front of us, but it's important to open up from the sides, from the back, like opening up to however abundance wants to come into our lives. Now, you've heard me say before too, that what we focus on gets bigger. So one of the things that I've been focusing on, and I ask my clients to also do this when we get on calls together, is to identify where they see abundance in their life. So I'm going to ask you now, if you're driving, obviously don't do this, just think about it. But I want you to think about and write down, where are some areas that you see abundance today? Some of you may have seen a social media post I did a while ago where I cracked one egg and I ended up with two egg yolks. And to me, that's abundance. Abundance, I had my grandson had cut me some flowers. And so I had this bouquet of flowers from him. Then somebody else brought me some flowers that was anonymous. My massage therapist gave me some flowers out of her bouquet that was still good because she was getting another one. And so that was abundance to me. So it's abundance of time, it's abundance of money, it's abundance of energy, even. So I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Whoa. Um, I'm having an abundance of sneezing right at the moment. So when we think about scarcity, we start to constrict. So anytime we have fear of money, have our money stories come up, that constricts us. So what I'd like you to do is I would like you to think about, what are some money stories that you heard growing up? Like, money doesn't grow on trees. And I always like to say, well, it does, it's paper. But also thinking about money as far as, we heard save before you spend anything, or it takes money to make money. Those aren't necessarily truths. And so it's important to take a look at those messages, because those messages drive our ability to receive. And that's an important component with this, right? So when you think about those money stories, I want you to take a moment, like push pause and list out all the money stories you've heard as a kid. One that creeps up for me even today, and I play a little game with the electric company, is this idea of having the heat really low in the winter and having the air really high in the summer. Now I don't have air conditioning now, but heat wise, I always play this game when I get my electric bill. It shows me because here you can have like what's called comfort billing, and they bill you the same amount every month based on your average for the year. And so what ends up happening is I play this little game about what's in my account. And I'm like, oh, isn't that interesting how that shows up? Because my dad would always say, oh, you're cold, go put another layer on, right? Like, we're not turning the heat up. And that's scarcity. So I want you to think about where scarcity shows up for you, both in kind of bigger ways and in some more kind of subtle ways that it shows up. And just take a moment, hit pause, list all of those things out. Now that you've listed all of those things out, and if you haven't, just start thinking about them. But now that you've listed all of those out, I want you to go through and cross off the ones that are no longer serving you. Like they're holding you back from something. A big one that I find is that in order to invest in myself or in my business, I need to have the money in the bank. That's not necessarily true. Hiring my marketing person, I knew by hiring her, even though it would stretch me, that the money would be coming in because it's an investment. Same thing with professional development. Whether you're planning to come to the October retreat or not, when I talk to people, it's, oh, I don't have the money for this. Well, of course you don't, because the universe is pushing you in a growth edge. And the goal is that you come, you have these epiphanies, you get yourself unstuck so that then you're able to go out and make more money, not only just replace what you spent on the professional development, but make more to increase or abundance. So part of this is about belief. Part of this is about abundance. And again, thinking about how those messages show up. Now, some of you have messages that have served you and will continue to serve you. And I want you to circle those. So thinking about those messages that are serving you. Now, some of you may not have any messages that are serving you, and that's okay, right? Like, don't beat yourself up about this. But I find that I can get into some scarcity sometimes where I feel like I've been called to do this work, and then all of a sudden it feels like I'm kind of on an island, and where are people that are wanting to use my services, right? Like, we all fall into this. And then if I start to get nervous about that, I start to constrict. And when I'm constricted, I can't accept, I can't receive as easily. So I actually have this prayer. It's up on my wall. I have it at home on my mirror as well. And I'm going to read it to you because it's really cool. It comes from Tasha Silver, is her name. She wrote quite a few books, but one of them that I love is It's Not Your Money. And she says, change me, open me, make me receptive to the unexpected. May I receive all that is meant for me over these next weeks and beyond. Let me know my own worthiness to receive. Let me play with these new ideas as an adventure, and then let me embrace what happens according to your will. I am yours, you are mine, we are one, all is well. So I'm going to take a pause really quick and we'll come back after that and talk about kind of the role that forgiveness plays in this. And I'll share a little bit about the law of increase and vibration. So we're going to take a quick break. Are you a woman who's worn out from wearing all the hats that we wear and you're really ready for a break? Well, join us for an empowering experience in beautiful Sandpoint, Idaho from October 24th to the 27th. This exclusive retreat is designed for women just like you. The Cast Your Vision retreat will have transformative workshops, expert guidance and coaching from me, and a supportive community to hold your hand along the way. Don't miss this opportunity to invest in yourself and your future. Get crystal clear on who you want to be and make that dream into a reality. Register today with the link in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Okay, we are back. So we're talking about money, what it is, some of those money stories that come. And I really hope you take a moment, if it's not right this minute, to list out, but later, list out all of these money stories that you've heard and really try to like resonate on some of the more subtle ones that come out, right? Also, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this with the fact of the law of increase. So I mentioned what you focus on gets bigger. The law of increase just simply says that what we focus on gets bigger, right? So the actual law itself says what we focus on increases, gratitude, appreciation, giving thanks, and here's a key one, and giving praise in advance moves you into a vibrational frequency that's in harmony with that which you are giving thanks for, thus increasing its presence in your life. So thinking about, and this is where I find clients get stuck, they're not thinking about a year to 3 years from now, what do they want their life to look like? What do they want their life to feel like? What do they want to feel like? Now, the key to this is not being tied to the outcome, but the art of that is about knowing what you want, but being open to however it comes in, right? I tell the joke about the drowning man or the drowning woman and how, they have in their mind that the Coast Guard should save them. So they miss all of these other opportunities that come across. And so it's important that as we look at the law of increase or expansion, that we think about giving thanks for what is already here in 3 years, right? Like looking at that as in advance of what's coming, right? And not saying, oh, it's coming, because then it's in a perpetual state of coming, but that thinking about the fact that, okay, if I have this goal 3 years out, it is here and it's here now. So how do I make decisions? How do I give thanks for that? How do I have faith that it will occur, right? Like taking aligned action or inspired action, moving forward with this faith that the next inspired action step will come, right? So that's how this law of increase and expansion works when it comes to money. And again, it goes back to even what I was talking about investing in professional development, investing in team to help you do things. I always say, if you have something that you just cannot stand doing, and it's maybe not even that you can't stand it, but that you're resisting doing, that if you did it, it would bring you revenue in, then hire someone to do it, because it takes you out of your lane of genius. You're resisting it. So that sucks energy away from you. And ultimately, then what happens is you're wasting all of this time, where if you hired someone that they were an expert in this, I'm going to use a website as an example. You don't need a website to do business or to start your business, but you want to create this website. Hire someone to get the content in there, have them talk to you for an hour to be able to then put content in. So you're not writing content if that's not your jam. Have somebody put that website together, because you will make more money doing what your genius is than you sitting there and resisting something that would take an expert a couple of hours to do, and it takes you days. So this is that idea of money as well, in this law of increase. The other piece of this in here too is this ability and the role that forgiveness plays in our ability to receive money and manifest money. So thinking about areas where maybe you've mismanaged money in the past, or you lost money, or you're beating yourself up about something, you got to let that go, man. Because if you hang on to that stuff, then that pulls you in, because the more you grasp onto that, the more constricted you get, the more in scarcity you are, and you're beating yourself up, which is lowering your energetic vibration. So I want to kind of close with something that I've done with clients before that really helps. Some of you may roll your eyes at this, and that's fine. But those of you that don't, it's an exercise that I tend to get a lot out of, and my clients get a lot out of. And it sounds really hokey, but I want you to find a blank wall. And part of this is because we want to get into your subconscious, where if you're staring at something that has other things on the wall, your conscious brain takes over and gets distracted. So sitting in front of a blank wall, I want the wall to be money, and you have a conversation with money. Now, some of you might get mad, some of you, and note the emotion that you're having around this and where you're feeling it in your body, and have a conversation. Now, I tell people to turn your phone on airplane mode, but you might want to record it, because you may want to go back and listen to any themes that came out, but have that conversation. Then take a moment to journal, and then turn it around, and the wall becomes you, and you take on the energy and the persona of money and speak back to yourself. And then again, journal it, look for some themes that came out. And if I'd love to talk to you about some of those that came out, so feel free to sign up for a connection call with me. I'd love to chat with you for 30 minutes. And just really start to look at how you feel about money, how you feel about millionaires. How would you describe this? Listen to how you speak in the linguistic environment when it comes to money. And also, I'm going to challenge you that if someone offers to buy you coffee, or they offer to buy you lunch, just say thank you. I've gotten to the point where I say thank you. That was not expected, but definitely appreciated, because that shows your ability to also receive. So with that, folks, it's a wrap. I hope everybody has a fantastic week, and we'll see you next week. That's a wrap for this conversation. I'm so glad you've joined us. Remember to subscribe to the podcast so you can catch all of our future episodes, and visit us at thelituplife.com for details on how you can become part of the Lit Up Life community. A quick shout out to my friend Jackie Wilson and her friends, the creators of our amazing theme music. Thanks so much for allowing us to share this perfect song with our listeners. Looking forward to having you listen in to our next episode.